What is up, everyone? Welcome to Crypto Capital Ventures. Markets moving a little bit. I wanted to do this video to try and provide some guidance for all of us going into this weekend, especially in context to potential resistance, why we should be careful, why we should optimistically enjoy the little green candles that we're getting. I want to start here on the Bitcoin chart. This is a 6 hour. We're going to pivot to Cardano later in the video. So here's Bitcoin on the 6 hour. The reason this is important is this is just beginning to play out. This was a video I did June 22nd, a couple days ago. Bitcoin just over $20,000. We were tracking this inverse head and shoulders with a downward sloping neckline, the possibility for this. The reason why this is kind of an important play is not so much, hey, potential, bullish reversal. It plays into the bullish rally sentiment that everybody's kind of beginning to get, especially when we look at traditional markets. This is a headline from literally, 15 minutes ago. Dow Jones jumps in broad rally. S&P 500 index, NASDAQ along for the ride. We've been talking about this potential rally that markets get, and you can just see S&P 500 index from the swing low up around 6 to 7%, which is a good deal for them. The reason why we want to be careful with Bitcoin, with altcoins, with everything, is from this point, we're entering this 20-day moving average on the S&P in green. The blue is up here at the 50-day, and that range is like a 1.5 to 5% range. So as these traditional markets enter that range, we have to be very mindful of resistance over there. If we get resistance over there, there's a strong possibility that Bitcoin gets its resistance over here. So this is a 6 hour chart. So with this pattern, there is and we're going to talk about that resistance. There is the breakout target that we talked about up to around the 27,000 range. It's an important range when we go to the weekly chart. Here's our macro Fibonacci, which is basically the bear market low of 2018 to previous bull market high. We've fallen into this range, which we fell into and below the last bear market. So we're in this bottoming out area. This is good. But that $27,000 target up here in the vicinity of the 618 of this macro Fibonacci, it would be such a great mid-bear market rally before new lows. And historically, looking back on this chart, it would make so much sense. And to give you an idea, this is what happened back here in 2015. I just did a video, 2014 to 2015. I just did the video about it. Here's that macro Fibonacci to the 618. And then boom, finally to the bear market bottom. So we want to be continually mindful of that potential move as we're tracking these shorter term moves, namely the move to $27,000. And that move to $27,000 brings Bitcoin on the daily chart to a very interesting area. So the 20-day moving average, right around just above 24,000. The 50-day moving average, right around 28,000, confluent with that macro 618 line that we just looked at on this Fibonacci. So this area could be the potential rally range for Bitcoin before seeing resistance. We can utilize it though as a bullish confirmation range, meaning if Bitcoin actually explodes through this area, that could be an extremely big deal from a macro standpoint. That would have to be a completely different video to talk about what that means. But right now, Bitcoin far away from even the resistance range, right? And so from where it is right now to the 20-day moving average, 15%, that 20-day moving average around 24,500, and to the 50-day moving average around 31%, and that move is around $27,000 to $28,000. So basically still a 30% move away for Bitcoin to hit this target to the upside. And I would anticipate some volatility if it's even going to get there, if this rally does happen. And what I'd anticipate is, at the very least, a throwback to the neckline to see if Bitcoin shows support before continuation to the upside. So actually hitting a $27,000 target might not happen till next week sometime or even the beginning of July. So this, again, as every other pattern, even on a 6 hour chart, we have to give it time to play out, and we have to anticipate all of these moves. This is a quick moving market. This is why I do these videos. It's not financial advice to you. It's not financial advice to anyone. Nobody knows what's going to happen. This is data I track to speculatively anticipate all of these scenarios. So in my mind, I'm visualizing and I'm ready. I am like an athlete in the field, ready for what happens next. That's what we're doing here. So that's Bitcoin. This is what I'm watching for. It'll be very interesting, really, to watch how the traditional markets close today. There's still a good bit of time left on today. Will S&P, for instance, make it to the 20-day moving average today, and what happens there? So we'll continue to watch that, because if markets close pretty green today for traditional markets, could be a good thing for Bitcoin and altcoins going into this weekend. Let's go to ADA. Here's ADA on the weekly. We've identified so many different things in terms of ADA. It is, in the grand scheme of things, just held up really well in recent weeks, right, against markets. And we can take a glance at the ADA BTC pair. You can just see it on the weekly chart. You can see ADA currently, we closed a green candle above ADA BTC 20-week moving average. We currently have a green candle above the 20-week moving average, and we're going to continue monitoring that because the last macro swing lows for ADA BTC pair was at the 20-week moving average. So we had one in April. We had one back here as we're getting 20-week moving average crossing below the 50-week moving average in January. So this is kind of a big deal on a macro sense for ADA, and all of that happening right now as ADA gets ready to go into Vassal hard fork in just over a month. Remember, Vassal hard fork was delayed around a month, so this green box got pushed back a little bit. Instead of this green box ending in around a week, it's actually ending in just over a month. So ADA has this entire space for potential continued, if not run up, but continued outperformance of other cryptos. And that's going to be something on the macro that I'm watching for ADA. But as we start digging into ADA charts, here we are. We're continuing to track the same structure and pattern and just setup that we've been watching. It is incredibly... It takes an incredible amount of patience to watch these things, because like when we're seeing it, and as I'm doing these TA videos and we're watching this ascending triangle, and we're even talking about the possibility it comes out and breaks back, a pullback to the lower trend line. In the present time, it's just like, okay, let's see if it happens. Let's see if that happens. But we never really considered the time that it might take for that to actually happen, right? Like we could get the pullback maybe June 29th. Cardano's at 60 cents, but we're talking about the possibility of it June 12th, June 13th, right? June 18th. We have all of this time. We have to wait to see if it even happens. And so that's why it's tough as a content creator sometimes, because I want to create the content and I want to be updated and keep everyone updated, but we have to let these things play out. But needless to say, while we are patient, things are happening here, right? We have the 20-day moving average just above ADA right now. So as traditional markets, as Bitcoin potentially rally, what happens here for ADA? And we're talking like ADA is pretty close from a price range perspective. We're looking at just a 4% move. Can ADA get back above that 20-day moving average? This would be a pretty big deal, because we know that 20-day moving average has just proven to be this area where ADA fails. It gets above it, fails, gets above it, fails, gets above it, fails, right? Gets above it, fails. This could be a scenario where ADA, it did get above it and failed, but it very much consolidated directly below before putting in a lower low. There has been no lower low. And if ADA can get back above that 20-day moving average in green, that could be a really interesting data point. Not to mention the confluence now as the 50-day moving average gets pulled down as well. These two moving averages are so very close, meaning the 20-day moving average possibility to cross above the 50-day moving average with an ADA pump is extremely close, and that would be a very bullish move for ADA. All of this while we watch and we wait to see if ADA can get that pullback to 60 cents. That's kind of the target right now for ADA. And if it happens, you can see ADA will be above both the 50-day moving average, 20-day moving average. And I should say that's the bullish target. I should remind you all that there's very much a bearish target below 30 cents still in play. That is the ascending triangle breakout target to the downside, right? So we're just trying to get back into and at the apex of the triangle. The bullish triangle target is all the way up here above $1, but we're not even there yet to start talking about that. So we're trying to see ADA kind of escape this area that it's in, meaning the breakout below, the bearish breakout. We're trying to see if ADA can turn this into a busted ascending triangle of sorts, is what we would call it. Now, going over here, here's the case for ADA to 60 cents. We have this setup, which I just thought it was kind of cool to watch. By the way, here's the ascending triangle, lower trend line we just looked at on the daily chart. We're on the 6 hour. But I like to watch charts with anything and just kind of, I'm always trying to look for structure. Like, what is this? What's happening here, right? In my mind, I'm kind of like, dude, that looks like an inverse head and shoulders. I really would, I would say it is. Like, I would call that in my own time. There's a lot of commenters out there that would say that's not symmetrical enough. That's not right. That neckline doesn't make any sense. For me, it's the story. It's bear stepping in here. It's bear stepping in here, and it's bear stepping in here. Kind of like the bullish bear battle. Bear's a little weaker on the right shoulder, and the bull stepping in here, kind of trying to test this neckline actually right now. But putting that aside, let's not even talk about that breakout target kind of in the apex here of that triangle. I like to also look at when do we get similar moves and what happened? How did it play out? And I was looking at this move back here in May into the end of May. So basically mid-May, end of May. And this move is so similar to kind of what we're seeing play out right here. And the one difference that I'm seeing, if we kind of just move it a little bit, is instead of ADA just getting weakness and coming down, ADA is actually right now putting in kind of a bullish move to the upside, right? And I think that's something I'm paying attention to because I like to watch historical moves. It's the move and flow of crypto, right? And a lot of that intermingled into that is also sentiment and what is happening across all markets. So right now, instead of at this point ADA falling, ADA is actually making a move to the upside, right? And this is an important deal because right now, this was a higher low for ADA from this swing low. And right now, this is a higher low for ADA from this swing low, right? So ADA might have put in a higher low for a potential move like this. And this is what we'll be watching. Be very careful out there, everybody. These markets are incredibly volatile right now. We're not in those days where we're in this bull market, right? These higher highs, higher lows, just tracking targets to upside. Our targets to the upside right now is just to see if Bitcoin and ADA can make it back to even a resistance area, right? We're not tracking bullish targets here. We're trying to form a bottom here. And with the volatility of all markets, it's just, we have to be very careful right now. So be careful out there. These are the targets I'm watching for the upside. I know I didn't talk about too much downside. You all know the downside targets for ADA. And then Bitcoin, we know where that previous swing low is. We know where this 786 line is, right around 17,000. And really, they're both around $17,000, $18,000. If Bitcoin just kind of falls, we really need to see Bitcoin, at the very least, see a double bottom support or something in that area. So these are all the things I'm watching, everybody, to get this Friday started. I hope you're having an amazing day. I will see you in the next video. God bless.